Hey, what's going on, my Evercade views? My name is PGPYT. I'm channel today. We're going to be talking about the Evercade VS, and basically, what we're going to be discussing is the fact that the Evercade VS is actually the best budget console you can get on the market. Now, a lot of people will be like, well, hang on, right? What do you mean? There are many budget consoles, and there's many Chinese knockoff consoles you can buy that have a ton of games from a ton of different systems that are like emulated or whatnot. So why would I buy an Evercade VS? Well, basically, the Evercade VS, first of all, is actually, let's start with the first fact, it's fairly cheap. If you want the bundle with one console, one controller and one game, it's 90 quid in the UK, £90. If you want the bundle with 2 games, 2 controllers and the console, it's a little bit more expensive. It's about £110. Still fairly cheap. And then you have obviously you've got the Evercade. Then you've got, what was the other thing? You've got it's got its own cartridge-based media. It's £18 a cartridge. You get anywhere between 2 and 20 games, which is huge for many collectors, many developers, and many gamers. Because obviously nowadays with gaming, you buy a game, it's like 70 quid in a lot of situations, and the game just isn't really worth it. Like, the graphics look nice on these newer games, but they ain't really that impressive when it comes to gameplay. And they're kind of watered down and just copy-pasted formula from many other games from their era or from their franchises. Now, another huge thing with the Evercade VS is actually the controller, because the controller is very like NES style controller. It's got 4 shoulder buttons, face buttons, D-pad, start, select, and home, which is actually really useful. You know, it reminds me a lot of the NES or this Master System controller, which is really interesting. Obviously, the system offers 4 controller ports, so you can play, 4 people at one time. If the game has 4-player multiplayer, you've got 2 cartridge slots, so you can have anywhere between 5, no, not 5, in 4. It's 4 games. Well, at the time it's 5, obviously, because obviously we haven't got the second dual cart yet. But when the second dual cart releases, it'll be anywhere between 4 games and 40 games at one time, depending on what carts you have in the system. And also it's a great system for indie games. You've got games from like Mega Cat Studios. You've got the Owl's Awakening Cathedral dual cart coming soon. You've got the Xenocrisis Tanglewood cartridge. You've got what's the other one? Indie Heroes 1. You've got Indie Heroes 2 coming soon. And there's many other great games on Evercade, especially if you like retro, because retro games are huge on the Evercade. So people will probably tell me, yeah, because it's a retro console. Yeah, it's a retro console, but it emulates like 13 different systems. You can get actual arcade games on it. There's like going to be 8 different arcade carts you can get by the end of the year. Companies like Technos, Gallico, Data East, Jalico, Ireme, Turboplane. You've got tons of retro games from the Sega Master System, Sega Genesis, Mega Drive, Sega Mega Drive. You've got games from the NES, Super Nintendo, PS1, the Game Boy Advance, and it's just great. It's great options. It's got tons of publishers available, and to me, I think it's a great budget system, because obviously it's less than 100 quid. You want to play with one controller, so it's actually fairly cheap. It's got tons of games. I mean, currently, if you have all the Evercade cartridges, you've got 28 cartridges that will play on it. Currently, because obviously the Namco cartridges don't run that, which is a bit of a shame in my opinion. And then obviously you can't really deal with that because Namco just doesn't want to license renegotiate the deal. And then obviously we have that, and then there's tons of games. You can play Atari games. You can play Atari, Intellivision. There's tons of options. You can play Atari Lynx games, all sorts on this system, right? And this system, it's got a fairly good build quality to it. It's actually it's quite sturdy. Obviously the flap's quite useful as well, because obviously it's designed basically like the NES. Basically, it's really great. And to me, I love the Evercade. I love the Evercade systems. I love the Evercade family systems. I have the handheld. I have the VS, and obviously I'm going to get the EXP when it comes out. My whole channel's basically dedicated to Evercade at this point, and I kind of feel like the way we need now is to just continue to release more great games. And my one criticism of the system isn't the UI, because the UI is actually pretty useful. If you have more than one cartridge insert, it offers like tons of games and whatnot. It's actually, if you go look at the back of the system, you've got HDMI, you've got the reset, and then you've got the charging wire, this port, which is micro USB. Now the reason that's important is because I reckon Blaze needs to. I think by law Blaze is probably going to need to change that in Europe, because in Europe obviously they're phasing out micro USB for USB-C, so that might have to come with a change to the system. Now guys, let me know your thoughts on the Evercade VS down below. Do you own one? Do you own multiple? There's obviously this version is the Black Founders Edition. So do you own the Founders Edition? What do you own? You know, I think it's a great system. It's a great little budget system if you want to just play some games. Don't care about graphics, but you want to just have a good old fun time. You know, especially if you want to play co-op with your friends, or because obviously you can have 4-player local co-op with some games. Like I think it's like things called like Warlords on the the Atari Arcade collection has Warlords, and obviously the Codemasters collection has Super Skid Marks, which has 4 players. So yeah, there's a lot of great games. Yeah, guys, let me all know your thoughts on this system down below in the comments. Do you like it? Do you not like it? You know, what are your criticisms of the system? You know, do you recommend it? Because I personally recommend it if you just want to play games. Yeah, let me know all that in the comments down below. I'm BDPYT, and I'm signing out. Peace.